Odyssey. Oh, well. Did it do it? It went to a different scene. I think we're live with me screwing up. Here we go. Hello there. Special Friday night effort here at Earworms. We decided to give this a shot. It was nice during Halloween, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. We'll see if it becomes a permanent thing or not. But in any case, it's great to get back to some music again and loving the science fiction stuff. But there's also a place in my heart for music. And tonight we're talking about an album that is a bit closer to the heart. It's an album by Rush by the name of 2112. Rush, the Canadian hard progressive rock band that, well, has a couple style periods, but we're going to be looking at their hard progressive era. This album was 1976. And without further ado, I'm going to bring some panelists on. We're talking music, so that got this guy excited right here. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening.
Well,
Yes, I do get excited about music.
yes. Well, it sure beats working with printers, huh?
Yes, it does. And now the thing I was trying to submit online with the things I was scanning is giving me error messages. I'm like, what the hell? What is with this world?
Well, yeah. It seems like an endless stream of technical difficulties. I've been having my share lately.
What
You
would
know,
life
it's
be without it?
yeah, ugh. I'll just say that. There we go in the
There
chat.
you go.
All right. So let's see. I mean, yeah, it's Friday night and I'm feeling a little bit off, man. I started in the wrong scene and everything. And I forgot to hook up Rumble and Odyssey like we have Sunday nights. So we're just on YouTube tonight. Maybe I'll upload to the other places. But
There you go. There you go.
at least we have this guy.
coming right up. Look. Jesus Christ! I warned you.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How's it going? I thought it sounded like you were off to the races there. I'm like, wait, I'm still here, man.
Oh, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I usually do a little bit of a monologue and, yeah, but yeah, I should get you guys on sooner. So I like your avatar there.
Well, I figure it's appropriate.
Yeah. And keep that star right side up.
Well, it's how the guy fits in there.
Yeah.
I'm not really superstitious though. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not even talking about superstitions. It just depends on what some people mean by their stars. And it's always good for people to keep in mind that inversion as well as right side up are different things. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, that's a clanker. Yeah, we kind of have, I think, Liza in the chat tonight, but she's working on some stuff. And, and it goes without saying, Rush is pretty much, well, not unilaterally, not completely, but for, it especially this album, it's pretty much guy music, I think. I've heard so many times that there's a few things, like if you're well, at least from our generation, you're in high school. There's one thing you don't mention about around girls. Well, two things. One is Dungeons and Dragons, and the second thing is Rush.
Well, that really wasn't the case by the time you entered your Rush period, because, I've seen on one of their documentaries, they're talking about they're going out on tour and they've been doing this 20 years and they're really used to and know their audience. And all of a sudden they look out and they see women in the audience and they're like, wait a minute, are they at the wrong show? Geddy Lee is really funny talking about that. And, at some point, I guess in the late 90s or early 2000s, you started seeing a lot of girls getting into Rush.
Yeah, it was probably late 80s that I did. And I remember the first time, I believe it was either this album or it might have been Caress of Steel, but somebody was playing it in a boombox, like at the front of a bus, kind of lightly, but we, still did that for like band trips and stuff. And I just heard, these vocals that were just piercing through and, some really great guitar playing and just a tight rhythm section, and the rhythms themselves were really varied and interesting. I was like, what is this? And I have to get to know this. But, even though they were playing like some older Rush at the time, it was right around the period of Hold Your Fire or Presto, which I would say are still like good albums. It was just a different style period, a little more mellow, but you can still hear great musicianship.
Maybe that's what brought the chicks in, because, although a lot of women liked the first album, the one that everybody in Cleveland thought was a new Zeppelin album when it came out. And no, it was huge. I think Cleveland, Cincinnati, maybe somewhere about there. The DJs started playing the first single off that, and they got inundated with phone calls, and they're like, is this a new Zeppelin album? It was Working Man. It was really, really popular up in the North, in the Midwest, blue collar type areas. People were.
Well, that's Mike Gorley country.
And then
Mike Gorley country.
Well, it's a different city in Ohio, I guess, but at least Ohio, right?
Yeah, apparently.
And then they had a change of management, which to say, as their second album, disappointed a lot of their old fans and brought them in a bunch more new fans.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see here. We're going to switch on over to our scenes here. I'm going to go with slides tonight, although I do have a video of slides as well as a backup. But
you might be sleeping on the couch tonight, Lawrence.
Me? Why?
Well, your wife wants to know why this is not chick music.
Well, you'll have to listen and judge for yourself because you
I
only have
remember.
about 30 albums to catch up on. So
Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
don't
I
know.
mean,
I
I've
saw
played it
Rush
for.
like 3 times, and there were women at it.
Okay. I mean, I said not to be completely exclusive, but I mean, Geddy Lee even commented on it. It's like,
yeah,
Maybe
uh,
this album, I don't know.
yeah.
This
Listen,
album's kinda deep, but I think once they hit Tom Sawyer and all that stuff,
yeah.
they started getting more radio play.
I
yeah.
think
So I think
Liza will probably want to hear this album after we talk about it because she would definitely be intrigued by it. But it was one of those
Yeah.
things where, what was it? Fly by Night, songs like Bytor and the Snow Dog, is pretty much Dungeons and Dragons and Star Frontiers set to music.
Listen, in the
2012 is
Permanent Waves tour, there was maybe one woman at the show for every 50 guys. By
Mm,
the time we got up to Moving Pictures, it was maybe, 1 to 20. It was a different kind. If you met a nice girl at a Rush concert, your odds were good. If she was, it
well,
was kind of the rocker chicks,
she's
this is,
genuine, just like Star Trek girls. They're the best. Well, I mean, the
um,
the real Star Trek.
but at some point, I think past the Power Windows albums, they started getting a different sound. And that's when they noticed, a lot more women were showing up to their crowds. But like, I had a huge period where I listened to really too much Rush, and then it became uncool. And then that's when you're sitting around a table drinking a beer, and you're like, I used to like Rush. Yeah, me too. It was like a AA
Oh no.
confession meeting. And then, I gradually, as I'm getting into new music, I go back and revisit. And so I was really into them, and then I ignored them for a while, then really got back in. I mean, I always appreciated their musicianship.
Hmm.
You can't play drums and not know Rush, right? So,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
um,
and how about here's my thought from a musician standpoint. Back then there were not a whole lot of women in the rock world playing music. I mean, you had a few, but
mm,
there was nothing like there is now. And I think this band, it's kind of like, consider The Source. I consider them kind of a musician's. You either got to be a musician or someone that's really, really into music because it's rather deep. And I think some of the early Rush, especially, and this album in particular, was kind of a deep, had an appeal to musician type people or people heavy into music.
hmm
So, I mean, this is just a hypothesis, but I mean, if you think back in that time frame, there wasn't a lot of women rockers. There were a few, Pat Benatar, and there were some out there, but nothing like now. I mean,
yeah,
there are women musicians all over the place now, which is cool.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's just a possibility as to why maybe they
Yeah,
weren't big.
partially. I think it was the subject matter and some of the billing. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
they
when you
became more
listen to the
popular
music,
later.
it can be more appealing to a broader audience than one would expect, because, people actually listen to it and think of things as individuals. But marketing and things like that, it always ruins things because then it kind of like pigeonholes demographics and everything like that. But
Right.
any case,
Got them a bigger audience though. But yeah,
yeah.
I kind of got away from Rush after a while. I wasn't real big on the Tom Sawyer and all that stuff
Oh, okay.
when they became kind of poppy and popular. That's just me.
Well, it depends. Like, you would not consider it to be poppy, like, by today's standards. I think it was just in comparison to what they were doing. It sounded smoother, a little more synthesized, just a little bit more melodic. Getty wasn't screaming as much, but it was still intriguing music. Like some of my favorite albums were like Grace Under Pressure, and which also is still pretty deep. I mean, there's rich content in it. The
Oh
subject
yeah, they've
matter,
always had the
yeah.
musicianship.
And
Yes, your
then
wife is chastising me now. I know there were female bands. What I'm
Well,
saying is there's a lot more now than there was back then.
well, she probably doesn't remember this, but I did play a little bit of Rush off of a YouTube video once a few years ago, and her reaction was, "Is that a girl singing?"
Well, you know what? My joke used to be, Geddy Lee sings like he's got a rope tied around his balls.
Oh, all right. Well,
Well, he does sometimes. It's like, ah, you know, I can't.
yeah,
even
but
do it.
John Anderson sounds prettier.
I like Geddy Lee. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like John Anderson better.
Well,
Yeah,
here we go. Something
Well,
wrong here, huh?
And I like Janis Joplin
Oh, yeah, Janice.
and Hart
yeah.
and Stevie Nicks.
That's some of the first names that came to mind. Stevie Nicks, Janis Joplin, and yeah, of course, half of
Absolutely.
Ann
Art.
and Nancy Wilson. Yeah. Grace Slick for me, but
Oh yeah.
these guys, they basically lost me at Power Windows. I think that's when I kind of stopped. But there was another factor with me, which is, man, I really admired their drummer, and he was, how do we say, socially challenged to be. And I think he, I had a chance for a little meet and greet. I think this was back in maybe 84, 85. I've come to know, like, I read his book. I know a lot of other things since then, but at the time he just came across as a dick. But he was just very shy and awkward and not good at small talk. And God knows I can sympathize with that. But at the time, kind of meeting him really sort of turned me off. At the same time, the band was changing musical directions. I mean, Signals was already, I'm like, only 2 guitar solos in the whole album. What's going on here? Like, and then, but like I said, if you're really a music, you tend to get more open-minded the older you get. Like, there was stuff I completely discounted as a young person because, it was too wussy or, oh my God, that Euro pop trash kind of stuff. And I think at some point you either learn to appreciate good songwriting or not. And you can find good songs in genres that, don't even appeal to you, but you can learn to recognize what a good song is.
Well, Rush is definitely better than this band right here.
Is that a AI fake thing?
Oh my God.
Well, you can tell when there's 5 members, and the word at the top is kind of like Rush, but not really. Yes, Inga is giving us a little bit of a shocker there.
Well,
so anyway, it's great to see Scott in the audience. He hailed the call, and great to see Flav.
Yeah, buddy.
Although I think these days he's like ex Flavius or something like that. He's in a new era.
Yeah, they yes, this was kind of looking a little bit I guess they were going with their androgyny phase here, but
well, I think they're trying to look a little bit like Yes, maybe Rick Wakeman kind of style.
That could make sense.
This is the look of the time. So here we go, mid 70s. On the left, Alex, the guitarist, and Neil Peart in the center, and Geddy Lee, bass and vocals on the right. And the primary lyricist for the band was the drummer, Neil Peart. Drums and percussion, primary lyricist. In fact, all members did have at least one song they wrote lyrics for on this album, which is something that's coming up.
Yeah, they only have like a handful of songs to their name, even throughout the whole catalog. But
yeah,
for the lyrics, obviously, I mean, that's the thing. These guys are fantastic musicians. But as you go out in the world and you have your stuff, you meet you realize, man, there are a million people that can play the guitar like a demon or drums or bass. You meet the real kicker is being able to write songs. And I believe as good musicians as they actually are, it's their songwriting that makes them stand out. Because you can go into any, podunk town and Podunk, East Bumble, or whatever, you'll find 10 people that can play guitar better than this guy, or even 100. But just God, look at YouTube at how that's exploded. You get really depressed checking out what other people are doing. But what separates the wheat from the chaff in music is your ability to compose. And these guys wrote some phenomenal bangers. And that's why we're here to talk. Like, you can find 1,000 people in your town that can cover this thing and sound like them, but none of them were able to write it to begin with.
To make it to begin with.
Yeah, that's the difference between Bradley Nowell and Rome. There's a little Sublime reference there. Okay. He sounds just like him, sings just like him, plays just like him, but he doesn't write songs just like him. And so I'm a huge Sublime fan, and that band encountered tragedy far too early in their career.
Well, Rush has had a long storied career, and unfortunately Neil Peart is no longer with us, but in fact, the band will be touring again, and they will have a lady from Germany playing drums in his place. So they now have a lady in the band, at least for this tour.
There you
Boy,
go.
they've
Who
come
knows
a
how
long
many
way.
more they'll do, but
that's a lot. That's full circle, man. They didn't even have a lady in the audience, and now they have one behind the stage.
Maybe that's the plan. It's going to be interesting, though, because he's such a unique drummer.
You know what this album's largest impact was? This thing boosted Ayn Rand book sales by like 1,000,000%. I swear to God, like nobody knew. You had your little hipsters or intellectuals on campus, a few of them talking about, Atlas Shrugged or whatever. But man, when this came out, every pimple-headed faced teenager with a guitar went and got a copy of The Fountainhead. So.
Well, yeah, I've read The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged, but I haven't checked out Anthem, which is, I guess it's a short story or a novelette, but it's shorter work than the other two, definitely, and I haven't checked that out yet.
Oh, I think I just boomered. This album's based on Anthem, isn't it? I was thinking The Fountainhead because.
Well, I mean, that was probably that and Atlas Shrugged are her more popular works. So.
Yeah, but I mean, this album is straight up. I can't remember. Do they credit her in the liner notes? Remember when we used to have liner notes?
Yeah. Well, my first exposure was on cassette tape, and I don't quite remember, but I'm not good at remembering anymore.
Yeah, as I just showed, some stuff I can remember. Yeah, the primary theme for this album is based on Anthem, and I said The Fountainhead.
Now, the title track of the album is a 7-part extended song, and that is the one that is based on Anthem by Ayn Rand, or draws inspiration from it. It's a science fiction kind of story, although I guess you would consider it, it's a story, but it's not like an epic story in music. Like sometimes you have like things where it just keeps unfolding. It seems to be more like a concept story where they're talking about a society that exists, and in this case, it's a fictional society, I guess, in I say a galaxy far, far away, but it's not Star Wars, but it is science fiction based, and there's this Solar Federation that rules. I guess the galaxy, and you don't get to know much about it. Just a song sung by one individual who discovered the guitar, and we'll be getting to that. But basically, this album starts with some synthesized spacey sounds, and believe it or not, it wasn't Geddy Lee who later played keyboards and did synthesizer work, in addition to playing bass and vocals for the band. It was actually a guy by the name of Hugh, I believe it's Hugh Syme or Syme. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he was also their album artist for a few albums at that point. Here's a picture of the Solar Federation. This is kind of like their conference room where they plan how society is going to be ordered. They got nice chandeliers there, but there's not too much artistic creativity in the Solar Federation.
I didn't quite follow what you were saying when you were talking about the story. You said it's not. You said it wasn't something. It wasn't like.
Well, I mean, it's kind of short. Yeah, it's a long 7-part song, but it is kind of short. It's not like. I guess you would really need to read the book or go deeper to get. I mean, of course, when you're adapting things for an album, it's not going to be like reading a book, obviously.
Yeah, it does make a complete narrative, right? It's a guy they sing about his oppressive environment. Then you hear he's not happy living there. Then he finds a little guitar. Then he learns to play it, and then he tries to share it with the society, and they shun him and penalize him. We don't do that here. And then he basically, much similar to Star Wars, it looks like he dies of a broken heart or something.
Yeah.
Just like Amidala. And then we have the little surprise ending. So I just didn't understand what you were comparing it to when you said it wasn't epic.
I'm not good at speaking. That's funny. I'm doing streams, but
I wanted to hear.
I have thoughts in my head. I'm trying to put them into words, and it just sounds like ass when they come out.
Like it's much more like a self-contained story than something like Hemispheres was, which is a huge battle of the gods, planets. That's more Bravehearty. Society in conflict with two philosophies going at each other, space, black holes. They really went all out for Hemispheres. So in that sense, it's definitely a more character-driven. Sort of not really character, but it follows the journey of one little dude. Yeah. Who's happens to be on my avatar at the moment.
But objectivism is basically one of the themes of Ayn Rand, among other things. But basically, it's freedom and individuality, especially for the importance of individual creativity. That's one big thing that's important to her philosophy, which is also based on rugged individualism. Basically, you work hard, you come up with something really creative, and then you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And that was something that Neil Peart believes strongly. There's another song on this album that alludes to that too. Something for nothing. He believed you shouldn't really be getting something for nothing, and
they did credit the genius of Ayn Rand in the liner notes. I just wanted to, but Ayn Rand was born in Russia. She didn't really like the whole commie thing, and I just the sort of the opening song, or I hear Geddy Lee screaming in my head now. We've taken care of everything. The words you hear, the songs you sing, the pictures that give pleasure to your eyes. It's one for all and all for one. We work together, common sons. Never need to wonder how or why. That's sort of how they intro their society.
They've done all the thinking for you.
Yep. Sound familiar?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does ring familiar today.
It sounded familiar to me in the 70s, and now it sounds familiar to me now, a lot closer to home.
I am going to put in the chat a link so people, if they want to hear some of this on like YouTube music while we're talking about, they can. The link's in the description, but I'm going to throw it into the chat. So just pardon me a moment here, because the one thing about this, we're talking about this album, but we aren't going to be playing it because this is YouTube.
I couldn't really, the voice of I swear, it's like, we've taken care of it. Like, I can't even come close to doing it. I just hear him like sort of screaming in the back of my head, and I have this urge to put the album on right now, but I can't because we're streaming. But, as high as his voice was, it wasn't falsetto, and it was really powerful. He had another kind of like similarity to Robert Plant. Very high, but an enormous amount of oomph behind it.
Yep.
So when this album was out back in the day,
Yep.
I mean,
76.
were you thinking it? I think it's interesting how later we're talking all this, philosophical stuff and tearing. But when I think back, when trying to remember this, back in the day, I just remember sitting around people's houses getting stoned and, damn it, this is really cool. We
Yeah.
weren't like talking about books or any of that stuff. We just it was good music, man.
Yeah, we were getting stoned talking about books, so it's saying it was cool. But
Well, I
yeah,
was in the
well,
wrong crowd, I guess.
it's funny. I used to hear the lyrics when it first came out. We are the priests of the devils of Ceres. That's what I heard. Like, and it's we are the priests of the temples of Ceres. But the way he screams it out, it's like the devils of Ceres. So, when it sort of first hit, and you're just getting into the music, and then you find out what the lyrics are, and it's like, wow, I wasn't even close. Like a bunch of Stone or Tom Petty songs.
We didn't have YouTube, we didn't have Google back then.
No, but we did have the liner sheets. Like, I guess I'll be like, I think 76. What was I doing there?
Did this one have the lyrics? I don't remember.
I think it did, but I do remember, like,
some of them did.
A lot of times, you have your little crew. One guy would buy the album and run cassettes off for everybody else.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
man, albums were expensive. So, I think I sort of remember kind of sitting around on the couch, coffee table, like passing the liner notes around, which I think did have the lyrics. So, and that was my first wow, and then, we do everything. We were obviously blown away by the musicianship at first.
Yeah.
And
I
this
think
was
go ahead and let you finish your idea.
No, it's just, they had concept and narrative albums before, Fly By Night, Caress of Steel, but this was their first. I really think Farewell to Kings had some, but this was the one that, the entire side of the album was a story that, you got that with a couple of the Who albums. You didn't get this a lot, It was very powerful at the time to hear a band telling an entire narrative over the course of a side of an album.
Yeah, I should say that picture that was up before, because you were talking, I didn't want to interrupt, but I should give a disclaimer. Any imagery that you see like this is not real, folks. That's not Ayn Rand, and that's not Rush. That would have been a band, huh? Yeah. Well, anyway, significance. This album was their fourth studio album, and Caress of Steel, which a lot of Rush fans do love, still wasn't as much of a financial success. So this was like a make or break album for them.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it did rise to the level of financial success that helped keep things going, at least keep that contract going,
Yeah, this was the big one. This was their make or break. They had a very powerful debut with their Rush album before Neil Peart joined the band. Fly By Night was a good album, but it didn't do that well, and the record company says that's too weird. So what?
Well, it had a song called Rivendell on it, and a song called Baitor and the Snow Dog, and it's like,
yeah, but they addressed the record company's concern with Caress of Steel, for God's sakes, which is an entire
Bastille Day.
Yes, an entire album based on freaking Bastille Day, and when 2112. Like the band, they'll talk about how they, what do we want to do? And they're like, we want to do what we want to do. We don't want the record company to tell us what to do. We're going to keep going. We like doing this stuff. And that's when 2112 hit. And it was truly, you're right. It was their make or break album. If this one flopped, they were going to get dumped by the record company, probably not picked up by anybody else. And man, this thing was a huge hit. Holy moly.
Yeah, well, you see there, the first album was self-titled Rush, and then Neil Peart joined the band. They had Fly By Night, which had a couple of different interesting songs on there. I do love that album. And then Caress of Steel, which you said, yeah, was largely dealt with Bastille Day, not just the song, but there's this
Yeah.
theme of fighting oppression and also liking good science fiction and fantasy stories.
Yeah, I will point out these young Canadian boys were not oppressed in any way, shape, or form. They were, well, maybe their parent, like, Canadian rockers are different than American rockers. Like, these guys, they didn't really party very hard. They had good relationships with their parents. They were well behaved and they worked their tails off, man. They toured like mad. They practiced in the studio. Like, there was that one, I think Rush toured with Kiss. And Gene Simmons went up to Geddy Lee and said, "What are you guys doing? You're in your hotel rooms reading a book. It's like, we got naked chicks, we got coke, we got booze,
Well, Gene Simmons didn't do booze or drugs, though, but he did women.
Yeah. But everybody else was, and he's like, "Come on, it's time to party." And like, Peart's in his room reading a book, and those guys are like in bed by 9.
Yeah, this was definitely the nerds band.
Yeah, but well-behaved nerds. They weren't particularly rebellious. Like, I guess they had their version of teen. He's like, "Mom, I want to play guitar." Like, it's funny. They sort of have home movies of these guys when they're teenagers. It's hilarious. Because I guess Geddy Lee's family was fairly, I don't know if they were Orthodox or conservative Jews, but, when I said they weren't oppressed, he might have felt a little repressed by religion. I don't know, but they were really kind of normal, well-behaved suburban kids, but they did have their version of teenage rebellion in their growing up. But it's nothing like you see now.
Yeah.
They still said ma'am and sir to their parents. They were home on time for dinner every night. That kind of thing. Like,
yep. Well, this first song that we're about to talk about now, of course, I said before, Hugh Syme, or Syme, I'm not sure, played an ARP Odyssey for that spacey synthesizer in the intro, that also plays a little bit of melodic themes, early on in this song, but not a regular member of the band, but was their album cover artist and recorded multiple tracks and stuff, had some musicianship as well. And then let's see. And then, after this overture, well, actually, I guess the overture came next. It's still part of the overture, but after the synth intro, the overture itself had some themes that were, just like an overture would do for an opera or something. It presents some themes that are then utilized later. So they were very classically inspired, and you can tell, especially in compositional form. And then, as after the synth solo, the power trio lets loose, and one article said they were unleashed, basically, bit of complex time, shifting accents, with the rhythms, but very tight rhythm section. Oh, what do we have here? Rock opera? Question mark. No, Liza, it's not a rock opera. It's a rock story. But and then what do we have here? Finally, did I say? Oh yeah, musical elements. I saw medical elements, and I was wondering what I was doing.
Well,
musical elements.
Why isn't it a rock opera? It has an overture and everything.
Yeah. Bam bada bam 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 bada bam 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 bada bam bada bam 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 bada bam bada bam bada bam 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 bam. It's like great musicianship. And then that's the Priests of Syrinx, which comes up next. But basically an instrumental, like, rock hardcore power trios section, and then comes the Temples of Syrinx, which is described as like gray walls and uninteresting, basically, centers of conformity. And so I think this is kind of appropriate. Looks kind of like an AI data center, or not really a data center, but a computer lab. Yeah, I just make up some AI crap, folks. Maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. It's not working. And then the priests of the temples of Syrinx. So now, basically, they're the ones that order the society, and it is a computer-driven society, kind of like things are becoming now, where I would say they choose the data sets the AI is modeled after and learns from. And this is more AI art. Nice pillars there. I like those columns. Look kind of Egyptian. But yeah, it's a screaming song, The Temples of Syrinx. And yes, the lyrics were poignant that you read from earlier. I don't know if you wanted to read any more, but if not, we'll just keep on. We'll keep on going. But it really establishes, and from that, you basically the listener gets an idea what this society is all about. And so the society is called the Solar Federation, and it's ruled by these priests, and they're called the priests of the temples of Syrinx. Interesting note there: Syrinx was a Greek mythological figure. She was a nymph who escaped Pan by becoming river reeds that then Pan used to make his flute. So interesting there, and kind of like hmm, similar in a mythological story to one that Liza likes very much. In fact, she uses it as a name for her opera company and business. It's called Psyche, where Psyche was basically escaping Apollo by becoming a tree. So it's a similar story. I feel very alone now.
You're going. We're here.
Okay. I don't know, man. So anyway, if anyone wants to add anything about the temples of Syrinx, I don't know. But then Discovery, this is where the plot, picks up. This is where the protagonist is introduced. It begins with the guitar tuning, which is obviously Alex Lifeson. And then, almost like basically the protagonist found a guitar, which is a relic from the elder race of man. So it was like a prehistorical civilization that had music and creativity. And this relic was found in a cave behind a waterfall. And so you hear the peaceful water flowing and you hear the guitar being tuned. It's a big change of pace musically. And then it just seamlessly unfolds from the tuning into playing a song. And then it gets a little bit more rhythmic and active and kind of happy as the lyrics evoke, the thoughts of finding music and creating music and learning, just on the spot to play this guitar. And, the beauty of the sound of the instrument and its creative potential was important. And this person that found it, you know, um, unfortunately had a bit of naivete and thought that, wow, I could really change everything with this. Imagine what this can do. And unfortunately goes to the very wrong people, the priests. And that's where in this next part, it's called presentation, where the instrument is presented to the priests at the temples of Syrinx, and their reaction is no, bad, bad thing. We don't need this kind of stuff, this creativity. It's useless. And, it goes against the order of their society where they've done the thinking for you. They've done all the creating for you, and it's there. And the media you consume would be just from their data centers and so forth. And yeah, I don't know. Anybody want to say a few words?
Well, which song are we on? We're on the part where he finds the guitar.
I could stop anywhere you like, but yeah,
You kind of
basically
lost
that
me.
idea. They go from one into the other, from discovery into presentation,
Right.
finding the relic and creating music, and then presenting it to the priests, who immediately reject it because it goes against their society.
You lost me at data centers because I'm not sure where this is where he finds the guitar by a waterfall, right?
Yeah, well, the temples of Syrinx were described as gray-walled, like
Yeah.
computer institutions. So I say data centers because it's almost like our version of it now would be like AI data centers.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's where you lost me because I wasn't. I didn't know we were going back to the temples. That doesn't matter. Okay, so yeah, I just you know, I really like this. I guess we'll call it movement or song, or
Yeah.
it doesn't. So it does something narratively challenging, which is it conveys through music a guy learning to play guitar without all the horrible sounds that a brand new guitar player, would make. But it starts off with a very simplistic. It is almost a scale, then he goes to arpeggio, and as he's playing, it gets more complicated. But that's not what a real learning a guitar kind of experience sounds like. Like any instrument, it's usually a painful cacophony of
course
sounds. So I thought it was very clever how they created it in the song and arranged it. So you hear the real simple stuff, and as the song moves on, as the movement moves on, it gets progressively more complex. And so I think, and obviously, the lyrics in there, it's got wires that vibrate and give music. What can this thing be that I've found? That's very cool, especially for for a young aspiring stoner. Was and then near the end it gets to he's the most amazing thing. He's excited to share this with everybody else, and that's not going to work out like how he thought it was going to.
Well, I mean, I can't speak to everybody, but the first people you go to, well, I guess the priests are everywhere, so they're obviously going to react very poorly, and they do reference that it led to the downfall of the elder race of man. At least that's what they said.
Yeah, I don't think they're being honest with him. Yeah, so there are some vagaries in the entire album that some of it were fleshed out in interviews and talks with the band, many years or decades later. But the impression I got when I did when I listened to this album is like, no, the original society, they didn't. There wasn't a cataclysm. Like, you guys were assholes and they left you because they didn't want it. It had a very Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy feel to it.
Yeah.
It's like, we took all the middle management, put them on a boat. It was like, so I don't know, for whatever reason, it's just like, I have a feeling the society, they left somewhere for, greater horizons, and they didn't want to take you assholes with them.
So that's something that also is one of the mythologies about the earth and everything today. In a way, it's like if you into that stuff, like going back to the bloodlines and the bloodlines of the Nephilim, and basically being the toxic earth is rejected by the rest of the global community. And we are the unfortunate victims of those leaders and so forth. But maybe I shouldn't have gone there. Is Swappers in the audience? All right. Then Oracle, the Dream, comes up next. Now, this is... it gets pretty sad from here going forward. But basically, the protagonist who found the guitar is suffering from despair because of the rejection, and he has a dream when he falls asleep. He's in some isolated area. He has a dream and dreams of all the beauty and the musical creativity and how much it enriched the elder race of man in their society, and comes to the realization that it's hopeless, in this society with the ruled by the priests. I guess they're not in a position to have a revolution, or they are not thinking in that way. Perhaps they're passive and are not revolutionaries, and therefore it's almost like resigned, feeling resigned to the fate of basically never overthrowing this tyranny. And as it goes on, in fact, the protagonist does take his own life in soliloquy. In this, finding that to be the solution, and perhaps the ultimate meaning of this overall piece is that perhaps that is the wrong thing to do, because it wasn't long until we have the concluding movement, grand finale, where it seems, at least in your opinion, and I think you've done plenty of study on it, is that the Solar Federation was then conquered by, I guess, remnants of the elder race of man. It's at least just listening to it musically, you're not quite sure, but you do know that there is at least some sort of a destruction of the Solar Federation, and this new party has assumed control, but it's not announced who they are.
Yeah, I have to I have to um I have to admit or confess, at no point in like the 20 years that I listened to this album that I got the fact that he was Minecrafting himself. I thought I really did think it was sort of like a Queen Amidala situation where you don't need a doctor, you need a poet. like
Well,
dying of the broken heart kind of thing.
Well, if someone feels like there's no future and this is it, I mean, they're not necessarily going to say, and I'm going to, take an action on this. So, yeah, I guess that's the thing. And probably they didn't want it to feel like it was too overt. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't know that either. But that, I guess, event, is actually the story that, the person unalived themselves.
Well,
we got to avoid that word on YouTube, folks.
Yeah. No, listen, man, I confess it really seems obvious now that you mention it, but it never occurred to me. And so it's just like, wow, woo, that one went way over my head because I never, it does seem sort of obvious, but
Well,
I didn't pick up on it at the time.
It's probably good because it means that you're of a mind that, that's not all that.
I wouldn't
less
say
conceivable.
that. I wouldn't say that at all.
Oh, okay.
I had, by the time I finished undergrad, I had 4 friends go through that. 2 in high school.
Oh, wow.
2 in college. One of them made the national news because of the spectacular way, in which it was done. But, yeah. And, I've been known to have my depressive, phases. So no, that's what makes it even sort of all the more surprising to me.
Well,
I guess it wasn't conceivable for Rush to do it in my mind. It was never a thing I associated. Their music was so kind of intellectual and poetic, but it was never really a downer. Even this sad story isn't a downer. Like, I think what it meant is there are bands I listen to. That's all I think about. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Mary Sewer on the side of Mary Sewer. I don't know. But with Rush, it just never occurred to me. So I think that's kind of cool. It's not something I would associate with the band.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's 2 interpretations that I found for the ending was that new overlords took over, and or the priest's last stand, and perhaps it was a newer society or the elder race remnants reconquered them. And I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say remnants. I would say, descendants, because remnants implies there was some kind of cataclysm or failure, or No, I think they just came back to, clean house, so to speak.
Mm.
The band still, Neil Peart still called them the elder race. That's what he said. Because, I think he was asked this question on many an interview. And he would say, no, the elder race came back to, bitch slap the Solar Federation for being assholes.
Yeah, that's good.
But
But
sad but happy ending.
I guess so. Attention, all planets of the Solar Federation. We have assumed control.
And to be honest, I thought they got there just in the nick of time. I'm not sure the guy didn't survive to see that.
Okay, well, maybe. I mean, it's the music doesn't necessarily make it clear. It's, I guess, what people say about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you get more of a story.
Well, I like to think, he lasted just long enough to bring some hope back into his life, and then he was made minister of music for the elder race.
Okay, good.
And they lived happily ever after. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to make a movie. Now with the advances in AI, we can turn this into a movie.
Oh, we can. I thought you meant they. Don't say that. You just put it out there. Now they're gonna ruin. They're gonna ruin Rush like they ruined Doctor Who and Star Trek and Star Wars. No.
Give it a happy ending.
And we just found out they're gonna ruin Stargate, so not thrilled to hear that.
Oh no.
Well, actually, they have some guys from the original show, and they said it was going to be a continuation, so it could be good. It's just historically, I don't have a lot of optimism.
Yeah. Well,
So,
after that, we do have a passage to Bangkok. And there's a Bangkokian train. AI, so it's just made
yeah,
up.
that's a good one to get stoned to, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
Well, that's what it's about.
Well, yeah, we used to listen to Passage to Bangkok while we were in Bangkok, misbehaving, so to speak.
Aboard the Thailand Express.
Yeah, if you've ever ridden a bus in Thailand, you would know you would not sound that cheerful.
Well, there are Thai strains, and so that's what it's about. It's about different strains of cannabis, and they mentioned some of the major strains associated with these countries and so forth, like Thailand, a little bit of blueberry there, I think. And we got Bogota, Jamaica, Acapulco, and what else do I have here? Afghanistan and Kathmandu. And so all these locations are mentioned, and it's just like a metaphor for trying out different strains, ergo traveling to these different places. But it wasn't really about traveling to these different places. Like, I don't think Afghanistan is a major
Tourist destination? Yeah. It is if you're like in the CIA, but otherwise,
Oh, but they got some good hashish back in the day.
Well, that's why they're going there to set up their exchanges.
And no, I'm not being insensitive, folks. It's in the song.
Yeah. Why would that be? Are you kidding? Are we so politically correct now? You can't even hum a run of well-known music without it being racist. Like there, and plus that thing is in about 100 different songs, including turning Japanese. Which
my goodness.
We should do a show about all the songs about masturbation, by the way. That would be a fun one, right? Dancing with Myself, Blinded by the Light, Turning Japanese.
Blinded by the Light, huh?
That song is, mad drummers, bummers, Indians in the summer with a teenage diplomat. In the dumps with the mumps as the adolescent pumps his way into his hat. Come on, man.
Well, I
with
heard
a boulder
quote
on my shoulder, feeling kind of older. Listen, man, I love that song. Like the old Vinny Lopez, the drummer on that thing. He he is in an entirely different zip code than the rest of the band, and I love it.
Well, I had
love
always misinterpreted the lines there as wrapped up like a douche, but it was a deuce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Wrapped
I
up
like the Man for Man version too, but they left out a verse, and they left out like the best verse, and maybe we can fix that with AI and go back and. But I like the Springsteen version too. I'm not a fan. Listen, I'll be the dude put on a hell of a show. He would play for over 4 hours. You would leave his concerts being exhausted, wiped out, and you got your money's worth. But so, I can still like him and disagree with his, current views. And
no, he was really good musician, and especially those early classics.
Yeah, and I felt like they could have gone a little bit more minor scale on some of those sax solos. I didn't,
Clarence Clemens.
Yeah, he was always a little bit too, I don't know, like happy. It's all major scale stuff, and it's all very, it ain't the Stones sax solo. I'll tell you that.
Okay, yeah. Well, could have put some flat thirds and flat sevenths in there a little more.
Yeah.
Blues.
Or, God, I'm boomering. Who's the guy that did the sax solos for Hall and Oates? Man, he's like a legend. I'm not.
Sounds like a question for Google Gemini.
I don't trust those motherfuckers.
But I remember Phil Woods, who was an established jazzer, did the solos for like early Billy Joel stuff.
Yeah, Woods did some Stone stuff too, right? I mean,
yeah, I believe so.
They have some really, some iconic stuff on there. Okay, next time I'm going to get some notes and not depend on my boomer brain. It was Charlie Deschamps, also known as Mr. Casual.
Ah.
He did the I Can't Go For That and Maneater. So, but yeah, Phil Woods is, legendary. I also played sax when I was younger, but
yeah, that's my chief instrument.
Oh, really?
Yep. And we have here The Twilight Zone was the next track on the album. And earlier this week, I had the pleasure of being on with Anti-Derivative Jill on Tuesday for one of her Twilight Zone things where we did, what was it? Kick the Can and a piano in the house. Interesting. A piano in the house actually starred Barry Morse. And it caught me by surprise because I didn't notice it when I watched it. I didn't see the resemblance, but
from Space 1999. Yeah. Well, a lot of those you'll notice, like if you ever watch old Mission Impossible, you see everybody from Star Trek, all the guest stars and actors, and they're all on Twilight Zones and all the other shows of, that era.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, they did an homage to Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone here, and the first verse referenced the episode. Will the real Martian police stand up? So, and then the second verse referenced stopover in a quiet town, which I do remember seeing that one, at least. There's some really good Twilight Zones. Some of them maybe I didn't enjoy as much, but I don't think there was ever a bad one. They were just varying flavors of good.
Yeah. There are some that really stuck with you, and there were some that was like, yeah, that was cool, but there's some that'll haunt you for decades afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it when they went to an hour.
Wasn't that the new ones, or did the black and white ones?
It was like the fourth. I think it was the fourth season. I mean, they weren't horrible, but I just thought the half hour was. They were trying to draw it out in some of the hour-long episodes.
Mm.
Oh, Mel Collins! God damn it! It just popped into my head. Sorry, Sean. That's the sax player I was.
Oh, all right.
So when I was like in fourth grade, they needed a baritone sax player,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to sit on a phone book because the bell of the bottom hump of the instrument,
Wow,
I couldn't
yeah.
reach the mouthpiece, so
Oh,
I had to
wow.
sit on a phone book. Like, I was a little kid, man, and I barely had enough air to push that thing, but
Well, Jerry Mulligan was a great baritone saxophonist.
that instrument is very hard to play well because it just takes so much air, but man, it can sound amazing.
Oh, and what was his name? The guy that played, he played with the Maynard Ferguson band and was a Barry saxophonist, kind of in our area where I'm from, like Eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey. What is his name?
Dennis de Blasio.
De Blasio. Yes. Yeah. He actually came and did like some clinics at my high school and stuff, and was one of the big influences in me going into music.
That's cool.
Yeah, great Barry sax player and flautist.
My favorite story is the one of the Fillmore cuts. Juicy Carter goes to play with a band, but he's so high and or drunk or whatever, he's off key like the whole album. He's just I don't know. He's not quite there, and it's funny because the playing's still really good. It's just out of tune with the rest of the band.
Oh, I think I did that once where it was some jazz band set, and I did a solo, but somehow the way things were, it's like I couldn't hear me other
Right.
than in my head. I couldn't hear it coming out of the horn at all. But there was a mic there, but I didn't hear what the hell was coming, the result of what was in the mic. And I was just like slightly off pitch, and it was like, not off pitch, but out of tune. And so it was just like, just discordant enough throughout the 100% of the solo.
Yeah, and he was playing soprano sax, and it's like, you got to push that mouthpiece in, buddy, a little bit more. You're not quite there, but it's funny. I'm somewhat, I'm a pretty big Allman Brothers fan, so I've had a lot of alternative album cuts over the years. Let's say hypothetically, while admitting to nothing.
Well, here we go. Lessons. The next track is a piece written by Alex Lifeson, and the lyrics. And there's not a lot to say other than it's about, life lessons, learning through life experiences and everything. It's a pretty song. It's nice, but I don't have a great deal to say about it.
Listen, man, the B-side of this album didn't really get a lot of play. Like,
no. Well, the Twilight Zone was good, and so Passage to Bangkok was a major fan favorite there.
Right. But look at anybody's record collection, the side A is going to be polished smooth, and side B is still going to look like the Grand Canyon, man. You wear out the grooves like crazy on that.
Yeah.
And young people aren't even going to know what I'm talking about, are they? Because, I guess vinyl's making a little bit of a comeback, but I don't know who's buying it, older people or younger people.
Some are, but they're the ones that are already musicians, I think. Like, there's even some, like aspiring artists that I knew in Miami that wanted to actually release some of their music on vinyl. And it's like, well, that's a process as far as you got to get it mastered for vinyl first, unless you want to put out, something that isn't going to work well.
Right. But who's buying this stuff? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I did a few years ago, got a few favorites on vinyl again. I have a pretty good turntable and everything. So now and then, and I had one that I got in college, even when I didn't even have a good phonograph at the time. Chicago, their forget what the name of the album was, but it was one of the original albums, and I played that, and it sounded phenomenal. You know, if you take care of the records, they sound really good.
Yeah, I remember. I remember hearing a segment on NPR. At one point, there was only one vinyl presser still in business in the United States. I think it might have been United Record in Nashville, Tennessee. And this was before, the resurgence started, and now they've opened up. They've expanded, and new plants have opened up.
Mm-hmm.
But
well,
yeah,
there's issues, I guess, with environmental concerns and everything. But it's
what,
like compared to AI data centers.
yeah. Wait, what's more of a problem, vinyl or the crap they make CDs with? That can't be great either.
No. I guess it has to do with people just picking their enemies and everything.
Yeah.
Where things are going to demonize. But anyway, and if you take care of the records, they last.
Yeah. But they'll never be perfect. There's always a bit of that.
Mm-hmm. Lyrics. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. No.
I don't know. I was just going to mention this one, Tears. Now, this one actually I did like the lyrics by Geddy Lee on this one. It's a pretty song, and I did enjoy it. It's also like you said. I imagine the main one is 2112, and it's similar to the Pink Floyd album Metal, where you had echoes,
Yep, echoes,
and then the other side is, I don't know, what is it, a pillow of clouds and stuff.
You had Seamus and a pillow of winds.
Seamus, that's the dog. It's outside.
Yeah, and then you think Fearless. But that whole album is a banger to me, man. That's just every song on there is amazing.
Yeah. What is the song where he's talking to Manuel, who's serving drinks or something like that? I don't know. I saw the lyrics to that, and it seemed out of place for the song, but it's like, oh my God, that is that song.
Wait, on Metal?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Saint Tropez.
Yeah.
As I reach for a peach, then the all in the one. Out in Saint Tropez, dude. That's a very that's a great song to take on the beach, man. That's a very happy song. Like,
all right. So we talk about everything here, folks. Tears and then Something for Nothing. So it's really basically once again Neil Peart, who was definitely a dedicated drummer and worked hard at it, practice hours per day, believed that, yes, you shouldn't get something for nothing. And I guess that's why he also reads Ayn Rand and so forth. All righty. So that's how we conclude. And I don't know if we're going to be carrying it all right up to B-sides. I thought these slides might take a little bit longer than they did. But I'm still getting used to the whole thing here with the timer and trying to time things just right.
Yeah, I will say my metal vinyl, they're pretty worn out on both sides, as opposed to, I really didn't listen much to the backside of 2112 to be I mean, you did a little bit there for fun, but that's not what you were thinking of when you went to put it on. But Metal, that's one of my favorite albums of all time. And
oh yeah.
I've been
Echoes,
2 or 3 of those.
It does still rise above the others.
Well, I love Fearless, man. And there's a really cool, the chant at the end. That's a British football club.
Oh yeah.
You'll Never Walk Alone. And Floyd did that, they did that a couple times. They would get, choirs, football teams sing on their albums for nothing, free labor exploiting. Yeah, speaking of something for nothing,
Oh yeah, that was cool. And of course, one of these days, I'm going to cut you into little pieces.
Yeah.
That's one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Doctor Who quote.
Yeah, Waters really liked exploiting studio musicians, I'll say. Like, I think Claire Torrey ended up like suing and getting some money for a Great Gig in the Sky decades later. Because I think she got $90 for that studio day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was real. Plus, she really wrote the song because
Right.
so I believe she got some I think at some point she was able to get recognized for her composition and then got some royalties.
Well, and afterwards, like anybody covering it, or even Pink Floyd covering it themselves, or Roger Waters and the people he hires to cover it, they're singing that music. It's almost like, yeah, it may not have been written down at first, but it is now.
Yeah, the it's very hard to write those lyrics with the English alphabet, but they're definitely lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of that Elizabeth Fraser style of nonsense singing, but and there, I don't know, maybe someone in the chat can look it up. There was a thing about the British boys school choir like not getting paid for their little bit on the wall either.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, I don't really know. When you watch like documentaries, it kind of looks like Waters was in charge of that, but they may have had a producer. But it really does seem like they didn't treat their people all that well. As much as I love the band,
Yeah.
and I love Gilmore, it does seem like I'm not going to say exploit. They took advantage of people. They made a lot of money off of those songs, and they didn't really kick it down. So they're saying, hey, that was the deal. You got studio sessions. I suppose so, but you don't have to be a dick about it.
Yeah, especially when the money's really rolling in, you could say,
Yeah.
okay, we'll draw up a new contract,
Yeah, especially those two things have become so iconic, Another Brick in the Wall and Great Gig in the Sky. So, I understand with like, with the Zeppelin stuff, that's all Peter Grant, and that's really a guy nobody ever wanted to fuck with. So, a tour, he would go in and see people selling bootleg merchandise, and I think he'd like beat the crap out of them, like with his fists. That guy was a force of nature, man.
Wow, completely different philosophy from the Grateful Dead.
Absolutely. And yes. In the music business, I imagine you see them, you get all kinds, right? Who was it? Klein, the guy who royally effed the Beatles?
I don't know.
Alan Klein.
Yeah, Alan Klein. God, I'm boomer. Like, I have not felt I haven't felt my sharpest today. Yeah, Alan Klein, man. Huge story. Listen, you should have listened to Paul. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
Well,
like.
why don't you recap the story for us there?
Oh, okay. You want me to do it?
Yeah, might as well. Or Mike. Mike's been quiet. He can.
I feel like maybe, we could have done a little bit more samples of the lyrics. Like, you can't get copyright you can't get struck for speaking them, right?
I probably should have said something, say, go ahead, read it off. But I was hoping that you would read some of the lyrics from this. I mean, we could even go back to that if you want. Real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I read or I didn't read it. I just, spoke them. I sung them in a very.
I don't expect you to sing Geddy Lee.
No. But I'm saying like reading implies that I'm pulling them from memory here, man. That's what I'm saying. So,
You can Google them.
I can't remember what I had for lunch today, but I can remember the lyrics, the bass lines, the drum parts, guitar solos of, 10,000 songs growing up from my childhood. Those things are carved in long-term memory really deep. And I have not been kind to my long-term memory over the 70 years. So,
Me neither.
yeah, I can't believe what you're saying. These things just can't be true. Our
Oh, that
world
was
could
in
use this beauty.
presentation.
Yeah, just think what we might do. Listen to it was a sort of call and response thing too, right? It was the gospel. It was a back and forth.
Yeah.
He would do the soft thing, and then Geddy would scream, "Don't annoy us further. Oh,
Yeah.
we have our work to do."
Yeah.
Just think about the average. What use have they for you? Oh, another toy will help destroy the elder race of men. Forget about your silly whim. It doesn't fit in the plan. Man, okay. I have now called this up.
Yeah,
And
it is one of those things where it's like it's easy to say that what use is this for society, but it's like, hey, I mean, the human condition is a very difficult thing, coming into life and knowing that you have a certain amount of time here and that's it. And during the time here, it's not just about being productive in work. That's an important thing, but it's not just being productive in work, especially if it's just being productive for someone else's benefit and you don't share in that yourself. So part of life is learning about the human experience as well as living it, and creating music is part of living. You know, it's an essential thing for many people, or artists in general. I think everybody, should have something that they do that's a creative endeavor of some kind, whether it's writing, or visual art, or sculpting, something. It's essential. I think, even if you never get famous, or it's mostly for yourself. It's a very healing thing to do, and so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's. I thought that this song really epitomized that. It's just that concept. No, we just need more workers.
yeah, I did. Was this the Captain America movie? I'm trying to something like, you know, um, somebody says like, you have to go save the world. He's like, well, if we don't have dancing, what's the use of saving the world for? Or what are we saving the world for? That some movie, and it wasn't dancing. It was just, you have work to do. And it's like, well, if we don't have this thing, what are we really fighting for to begin with? So,
Oh, John Sheridan.
oh,
Had a quote like last night. Liza put on that episode, Day of the Dead, and when Rebo and Zudi were sitting there thinking that we're going to quit being comedians. We're sick of this because no one takes you seriously and stuff. I mean, the acting wasn't great, but the concept was was good because of Sheridan's response. It's like the whole thing that we're fighting for with our politics is to give people the freedom to laugh. You know, it's not that being a politician or a public representative and all that is so important in and of itself. If it is done correctly, the only good that can be derived from it is providing the freedom and the protection of people's rights so they can enjoy life.
yeah, I'm going to be
Pursuit
up
of
all night.
happiness.
I'm going to be up all night trying to find this quote. I don't think it was Captain America, but I like hear Chris Evans' voice, like
Mhm.
saying it. It's something like, if we don't have fun, what's the point of saving the world? It's definitely from a movie.
Mhm.
I just want to give you a heads up. I'm gonna be up till 4 a.m. trying to find this thing, and AI will be useless, and Google will be useless, and then at some point it'll just pop back into my head. And next week I'll tell you what the hell this thing was. But yeah, there has to be more to life than work, man. Like otherwise,
Yeah, work is there just to allow us to prosper. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, you got to eat, sure. And that's what you do. You eat to live. And then,
Yeah.
I guess the other quote was, it's like, some people live to work and some people work to live.
Yeah, it's ironically in Winter Soldier, Captain America kind of becomes a workaholic. So he's like, he's like, you really should go on a date. He's like, too busy kind of thing. So let's see, back to those.
Any other lyrical tidbits you want to?
Yeah, actually, because when he's talking to the Oracle, it says the elder race still learns and grows. Their power grows with purpose strong to claim their home when they belong. Definitely not remnants. It's still a growing home to tear the temples down. So, the Oracle tells me, I guess maybe they just neglected their, this planet. I don't know if this is their home planet and they went out among the stars, or, this was just a stop along the way. But yeah, so I see the work of gifted hands that grace this strange and wondrous land. I see the hand of man arise with hungry mind and open eyes. It's more a curiosity thing. But that's when it says, they left long ago and they still learn and grow and they increase their purpose. And one day they'll come back to tear the temples down. So
there we go. That's where it makes it clear that, that's probably the elder race at the end.
Yeah.
So listen to your oracles, folks.
My spirits are low in the depths of despair. My lifeblood spills over. But did it all spill over? I think there's a chance this guy lived, man.
Well, I guess the question there is in soliloquy. Part 6.
Well, the answer isn't there, though. That's the problem.
No, that's where he said that he takes his own life, but I don't know because the lyrics are not coming to my mind right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, AI has a less happy ending.
AI does seem to want to have that ending promoted, amongst humanity in many ways. In a number of cases where AI has recommended such things.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll do a little research. The question about who the elder race were was asked a lot, but I don't recall the protagonist's fate being explicitly answered by the band. It probably was at some point. But they were really leaning into the ambiguity. So maybe it's one of those things where, the ending is intentionally ambiguous. Some listeners. So I don't know. Probably when I'm in a more focused state, I will do a concerted search through interviews and stuff and see if they explained it. But then again, who are they? Once you put your art out in the world, it no longer just belongs to you. Death of the author and such things. So even if he says that the guy died, no, man, I think he lived. Your interpretation is valid.
Yes, and Ivan Ortega even redid The Last Jedi and didn't kill off Luke.
Yeah, like I said, I really thought that was just like the Queen Amidala thing. But, that's for art. I don't believe we should have such flexibility of interpretation when it comes to like history or facts or news.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what happened. The hippies spilled over into the, I don't know. I joke about hippies because Cartman hates hippies, but, I would certainly have been described one for a very long time. So.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some good aspects to love.
Yeah, that episode where he drills through the concert.
Yeah.
It's like just killed me, man.
yeah, the crunchy grooves.
How can we get through them There's only one way. We drill. So yeah, I'm not really anti-hippie, but yeah, at some point, the power of personal interpretation definitely overspilled its boundaries. But
Well,
in this case,
we have a question here in the chat. It's Hale, Lawrence Moore, and chat. What? Oh, no, that's just Scott hailing. Somebody said something about what time. What time do you call this? Oh, that's Clav.
8:30. No, I'm lost.
Maybe he's talking about periods or something.
Yeah, but is he talking about the album or like the time slot that we're using now? I have no idea.
I don't know either, but yeah, I was prepared to answer it if I understood it. Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to probably call it a night here. It's been an hour and a half. This is our first attempt at doing something like this, and I think there is definitely some fertile ground and stuff here, but I'm going to leave it to our folks in the audience to let us know in the comments section what you think.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it another shot.
I'm going for masturbation songs, so that's my vote.
Well, let's see. That might help us in the algorithm a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boost the ratings.
I heard a quote one time that I'm not sure who it was, but the quote went something like, masturbation is nothing to be ashamed of, but it's nothing to be too proud of either.
Woody Allen called it the thinking man's television. That tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a thing. It's not like it's an accomplishment, but it's also, I think in general, I don't know when this happened, but the opposite of being ashamed is not pride. I think somewhere like, I think that got mixed up somewhere in our society. And I definitely, there are many things you should not be ashamed of, but it's also no reason to be proud of something, especially when you don't really have a lot of control about it. So, obviously the big one is like gay pride. Norm Macdonald had a hilarious bit about that, by the way. He's, you should,
McDonald was interesting.
Yeah, you should Google that, Norm Macdonald on gay pride. It was, but I'm saying, yeah, don't be ashamed, but don't take excessive pride in something, especially if you had nothing to do with it. Like, that's just who you are. I don't think the opposite of shame is pride.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it seems to be like a pendulum swing. And perhaps an overcompensation.
Right. It's just like the body positivity movement. Okay, you're a little heavy. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Don't hate yourself. Don't beat yourself up. But, don't be fucking proud of it either. It's not, I mean, technically you did do something to get that way, but I mean, it's always seems to be one way or the other. How did we even get on this?
I don't know.
I gotta say, I haven't had a drink in 26 years. I feel a little drunk. I'm not sure what's going on. So
I don't know.
It's been one of the. So it got really hot here today. So I am kind of woozy of the heat after like everything's getting ready for the big cold, and now all of a sudden I'm sweating my ass off all day today.
Yeah,
so.
I was ready for winter to really start taking hold, but no.
Yeah,
it got warmer here too.
And between that and the getting dark at 5 o'clock, I feel like I haven't completely woken up all day. And also, we needed some Liza in here, man. Why isn't she talking?
Oh yeah, well, she just wasn't able to tonight. Plus, she hasn't really heard much Rush, and when she was hearing it, she didn't even know who it was. So she needed to kind of like.
All right.
She says she'll do the chat, but she's got stuff that she needs to multitask on.
Yeah, she has some homework to do. Then you've got some albums. Honestly, I'd recommend listening to Moving Pictures maybe as an entry point. Then you can go forward or backwards from there. Or Permanent Waves. You know, Spirit of Radio was the big, huge, you know, that after 2112 was monstrous, and they had some good solid work, but then I think when Spirit of Radio came out, which was Permanent Waves, the album, that's what really, you know, they became a bona fide like singles band with airplay and stuff. Although, and just to the point where, you know, the radio was willing to play a song over 3 minutes long too. So,
yeah, that really destroyed things when everything had to be 3 minutes 40 seconds.
So I'd say you're old
in 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're old too. I'll start out by that. I was chatting with some of the younger, some of our younger members in one of our mod groups, and I was just like, you've never known real radio stations. Back in the day, you could go to a radio station, you could look through the glass, see the DJ, you could just hang out. They welcomed people to kind of, you know, hang out. They usually had decent lobby areas, and bands would come by to give interviews, like, and you know, it wasn't this, you know, canned stuff going out, you know, on 600 different channels across the nation. Yeah. Well, that's what I said, canned. And it's none of this clear channel bullshit. Every single radio station had a personality and a location and an accessibility. We used to hang out at ours like all the time, and you could, if you timed it right, if like a concert was in town, you knew the band at some point they were going to go on the air and interview to promote their concert.
Well, and that's something that could happen on YouTube, but you can't play music or else.
No, yeah, and they had you know, and then there were giveaways. There's usually all kind of, you know, promotional materials, freebies, swag, whatever. But like that started to die even in the early 80s. But in the 70s, man, I just feel bad for anybody who never got to experience. Like you could call them up, you could request a song, you actually had a chance of talking to a human being. And at night, sometimes really, it was like, you know, as every commercial radio station was like a college radio station. Just the accessibility and, you know, the camping in line for concert tickets and, you know, picking your spot if they were going to be on sale multiple locations, like where are the fewest people going to be, you know, drive an hour out of town to the, you know, the shitty music store that's not going to have a line and set up your tent.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, I remember. Well, I didn't set up tents, but I got, you know, really good seats at a U2 concert back in the day just by going to a record store early on a Saturday morning in a college town where most people were still asleep.
Yeah. I got some really great police tickets. But that stuff started getting ruined, I think, even in the 80s when they started doing the electronic tickets across all of the different, you know, like Turtles Records and what was the other, the place that Blockbuster put out of business.
Blockbuster put out of business.
Yeah. They actually, you know, at one point they were the behemoth and not the underdog back in, I'd say, about really late 80s.
Yeah, Hollywood Video, or that was a sold VHS and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, we used to, I think in this part of the country, Turtles Records and tapes were where most of them sold, or even earlier when you had to go to the actual venue to buy the seats, and that's where the tents came in handy.
Yeah,
I also had to do that for Empire Strikes Back, for fuck's sake. Like, dude, there was a line 3 days ahead of time for that movie opening up. It went around the entire theater. It was, yeah, I didn't I didn't wait for days or anything,
It's
but
amazing that people were able to do that.
yeah, now you just sit there and yell at your computer and then shell out $5,000 for a Taylor Swift ticket. Like, what kind of life is that?
No.
You know, talking about, Minecraft, like, if that, yeah, like, okay,
it's getting...
I wouldn't pay $5 for one of those, but it's just, everything's online now. It's so soulless, and you don't have a chance because the game is rigged with all the resellers. They have thousands of, bots going out, snagging all the tickets and instantly scalping them. It's I think I pretty much stopped going to large shows in protest of the fact that it's all just sort of a scam now.
Yeah, there's not a lot to see either.
Well, even if there were, but yeah, you're right. I remember when the Eagles tour, I don't know, where they were the first band that broke the $100 barrier for tickets. And people were outraged. Like,
you're talking about the first iteration of the band?
Mostly.
Yeah, ends in the early 80s, because then after the When Hell Freezes Over thing, I'm sure by then it was in the couple of hundreds.
Yeah, it was earlier than that. I think they just maybe given Felder the boot. I don't know. It wasn't.
Oh, so it was Joe Walsh era.
Yeah, or right after the Joe Walsh era. I think that's... Now, you could end up paying a lot of money for those tickets, but it wasn't, what was printed on them. They were still in the $40, $50 range, I think, maybe 80 for floors. But like when the general admission tickets broke 100, that was the... But yeah, people were paying loads of money. I remember when the Grateful Dead did that show, was it 10 years ago? I don't know, man, time... And they found out that people were paying $100,000, for a ticket, and they were just like, "That is so not us." Like, what is going on? They're like, "Don't do that." Like, but it's sort of a supply and demand situation. If you're a beloved band from way back when, and you're only going to do one show, you got to expect. I like small venues. All of my favorite shows have been in fairly small venues. Specifically designed for good sound too.
Well, we seem to be getting ourselves close to B-sides, but I think we are going to be calling it an evening. One of the things I would like to do, and I guess maybe I'll at least try another Friday, see how it goes. I think
masturbation.
You really want to do that? I was thinking of doing Selling England by the Pound by Genesis. Because we were going to do some Genesis again soon. And I think you encouraged me that one might be a little bit better than the...
some of those tracks...
down on Broadway, because...
some of those songs could be described as musical masturbation, I dare say.
Yeah.
A little bit of self-indulgence, but man... And the guy who wrote For the Fifth hates it, which was really depressing to hear. Cause
I like the sound.
That's one. Yeah, that song. Oh my God, that thing was amazing. But yeah, he really derides it. Because wasn't that a Rutherford? I'm trying to remember who wrote. No, who was the keyboardist for that
Banks
era?
Tony Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which one wrote it. But yeah, I really like that song.
Yeah, I like the whole, the whole maritime Neptunian aquatic theme.
Tales of Poseidon. That's another one. Yes, Mike likes himself some King Crimson.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, well,
I like that older Genesis too. My buddy just a few weeks back, right before I came to Ohio, he went down to Cincinnati and saw Steve Hackett. And he said he didn't do the entire album, but he did quite a bit from The Lamb Lies Down. Said it was a great show.
So it was actually Banks and Rutherford wrote the song, but I think Rutherford was the one who was talking shit about it.
Oh.
How much he hated it. Yeah, I've seen Tony Banks a few times in various bands. And when he was, you know, a lot of those guys would go and play with other people for a while. And
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of cross-pollination.
yeah, didn't Banks play with Yes for a little bit?
No, Bill
That
Bruford
was
did.
Tony K.
Tony K.
K.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony K was the original keyboardist.
Yeah.
Wakeman was not the original keyboardist.
Yeah, no, Bruford left Yes, and he never looked back, man. The guy didn't play a note of rock. He was a jazz snob, and he never, like, once he left that, he never played a note of rock and roll again in his life.
Well, he came back to Yes. I remember in the 90s, they had a reunion thing that lasted a few albums. With Bruford and Hal.
But they got him back for King Crimson because it was just weird enough for him to, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and he had a brief stint in Genesis, too.
Bruford? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
the first
Genesis briefly.
Yeah,
it was like one album.
He really doesn't like rock and roll, though. When you read his interviews or listen to him talk, you know, I saw him a couple of times with he was doing the Patrick Moraz and him duet kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he retired for a while, but he just came back this last year, and he's playing jazz. That's his thing.
Yeah. But I'm glad, man. I'm glad they got him for that iteration of King Crimson because holy, we were just talking about. So somebody didn't really know the band, and they were looking for some suggestions. It's like where to start, you know, because like you'll never know it's the same band, but you know you have to put together a sample of all their different, you know, phases.
Oh, King Crimson.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
yeah.
I mean, in the first album, they had Greg Lake.
Yeah. And Giles was their drummer, Michael Giles, and
Lord of the Crimson King.
Yeah, there's a little. It's called like the Young Man's Guide to King Crimson. It's a like double album that gives a decent.
Oh yeah.
But once Tony Levin joined, I don't think it covers that phase of Discipline, Beat, and Three of a Perfect Pair.
Levin joined the same time Ballou did in the 80s.
Yeah.
Those 3 albums. Well, Levin's been with them since then.
Yeah.
He left and came back, I think, for one album in the 90s.
But
yeah, the 80s.
They split it up into different projects, right?
Yeah. Basically,
Project 1, Project 2.
Yeah, the 3, the Ballou. Yeah, it was Ballou, Levin, Bruford, and Fripp, and they did the, you know, the red, blue, and yellow. He's talking about those very minimalist covers. Discipline's the best one, but Beat's pretty good, and then Three of a Perfect Pair, and then Levin stayed. He does these I guess kind of boot camps for people who want to play the Chapman stick. He's got some videos up on YouTube. It's amazing, but you know what? That's a piano is what it is. It's like the same motion, and it's much more like playing the piano than a stringed instrument, which I guess a piano technically is.
Well, you know, that would be something to try. Maybe because there's probably some videos of him doing some demonstrations and things like that. That would be great to kind of like do something a little bit more multimedia, so we can include some things like that. Oh man, what do you think? So let's give Friday a shot again and see what happens. Maybe should it be King Crimson or like just pick an album, you know, or an era?
You could start at Crimson and then do tendrils out to follow the people at all of their projects. You would get like the Bears, Adrian Blues.
I'd be researching all week, man. Oh my God.
You just don't do it academically. Like follow your musical soul.
Okay.
You know, because that would lead you through.
But the young all about the facts.
Yeah, the young person I was introduced or helping get introduced to Crimson, he was definitely impressed. I think I told him to do Court of the Crimson King first, and then a track off of Red, and then that iteration with Blue and Levin, they have a bunch of live recordings from like the King Biscuit Flower Hour that are incredible. The Toronto show, I think, I forget the year, but it was King Crimson live in Toronto. Is in just very, very impressive. It's incredible. So,
If I was going to pick one album, I'd do Discipline.
yeah, one. You can't just pick one, man. That's just not.
Well, I mean, for a week, because
said, yeah.
if it pans out, we keep doing stuff like this. We're gonna do other albums in the future. You don't ever want to just like say, oh, well, we did that band. No.
Yeah, it's like you
divide it up into bite-sized portions.
Yeah, look how Babylon 5 turned into like 4 science fiction shows, and we haven't even gotten to Stargate yet. And like,
yeah,
we're doing UFO space. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I mean,
do a whole series.
Yeah, I think.
And then you start with Court of the Crimson King, or the first one. In the Court.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Court of the Crimson King, and then Genesis will do another week. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of our area, I guess.
Yeah, that album sold a lot of weed. Just hell, the album cover sold a lot of weed, and a serious amount of hallucinogens as well.
I like fish food. Or
I'm really,
food. Excuse me.
I'm missing the 70s now really badly. And it's funny because we're talking about it on a medium that you could hardly even imagine in the 70s. But it's still like a dude and a microphone, just like the radio station, you know?
Yeah. We're a few dudes.
They didn't have to deal with StreamYards, though, but, you know.
Well, folks, I think we're going to call it quits, but we're going to try and do this again. See how it goes. Let us know in the comments section if you dig this. Let us know. If you don't dig us, still let us know.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to stay awake through B-sides. It's like I'm a tired puppy.
I'm going to drop the link for folks to check them out, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But at my age, I should be eating dinner at 4:00 at Shoney's and be in bed by 7:30, right? Like,
some days I am ready to go to bed then, and there's been plenty of times I haven't been able to do B-sides because of that. All right, I am dropping their links in here in case there's anyone out there that hasn't heard of them. But in the B movies, public domain movies, PSAs, and some shorts. Basically riffing on the stuff. It's it's a great hangout for Friday nights. All right, folks, we thank you for joining us, and of course our great Scott Hovid in the chat there, Chief Mod, holding it down, putting up with us week after week. It's great to have him there.
And the lovely Liza behind the scenes
doing
what she needs to do.
Oh, yes. She'll probably dig 2112 a little bit, especially the lyrics and stuff, but she's not a hard rock person, interestingly enough.
No, I definitely see her more like a Robert Johnson.
Yeah, she loves her blues.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike will be visiting us again Sunday. Well, I don't know, Mike, you're going to have a long day. I don't know if he'll be doing earworms, but you're definitely being featured on Liza's Instrument Builder stream.
Yes.
Liza, please drop a link in the chat for your channel so that people can check them out. It's Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern, which is about 7 p.m. in the UK. So it's before Mr. Brown. Does not overlap. And so what are you going to share with us, Mike?
I got a few different things. So it's going to be interesting, but I've really had a hard time with the playing part. I'd hope to be better prepared. Maybe I'll get some tomorrow, I hope. So we'll see. But I have some very interesting new creations that I will be sharing.
Instruments,
yes.
All righty. All right. Well, that's what it's all about. It's a great hangout, folks, and you get to see some instruments Mike has made, and he'll be playing them.
Yes.
All righty.
All
So,
right.
if anyone else has anything else to say, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Peace.
Or
All right.
pieces. All right.
We're
Good night,
calling it a
everyone.
night.
Yep.